Hi, Tara. So I'm going to do my portfolio presentation through a screencast. So for the foundations of cooperative education, is to give students basically an opportunity to learn through experiences in their community rather than simply being told information. It gives students an opportunity to learn life skills while being able to gain credits towards their high school diploma. Oftentimes, when I'm working in guidance, we always have students who don't fit that stereotypical mold of being able to learn in a classroom setting. So it's nice to have cooperative education where we can send them out into the workplace and be able to learn through community members and to learn life skills, because oftentimes these students are the type that are in the classroom that are always asking questions like, when am I ever going to use this? What is this going to teach me long term? And I find that cooperative education gives those answers to them. It's an opportunity for them to learn those life skills where they feel like they're actually learning something that they're able to use in the future. I also find that another benefit to cooperative education is that not all students know what they want to do when they get older. Cooperative education gives students an opportunity to try a career that they're interested in, and if and after experiencing that opportunity, they can decide if they want to follow that pathway. And I find that oftentimes students will be even more determined to follow their path after experiencing the actual workplace and realizing how much they truly love that career. Also, it can work the other way where students realize, you know what, this isn't really for them. And it's great because in high school, at least they're able to decide that rather than after they've spent all of that money for college or for university. Now, for the 3 to 5 items that I chose that I thought best represented my learning in this cooperative education program was first off, so my first item is the legal issues case studies that we did for our final discussion. I also chose the different files that we were able to share amongst ourselves, which were the cooperative education application forms, the cooperative education brochures that we were able to share amongst ourselves, also the student reflective assignments that we were able to create and share amongst ourselves, as well as the cooperative uh, pre-placement lessons that we were able to create and share amongst ourselves. Now, for the reason for why I chose these items, first off with the legal issues case study, I found that these case studies gave us an opportunity to experience sort of real life issues that could come up in our cooperative education workplaces, and kind of what are the procedures that we would take in order to solve these issues. Um, I find that with co-op, it's oftentimes every day is something different, and you don't really know what you're going into. So I found that these legal issue case studies gave us an opportunity to kind of think of, okay, in this situation, what would you do, especially when it comes to legal issues in terms of health and safety, and also the safety of the students. My reasoning for choosing all of the other programs or files that we shared amongst ourselves is that teaching is oftentimes, a lot of the time, just collecting resources, and being able to share all these resources, we're able to kind of find the best items and nitpick kind of what we like and don't like. So I find that, for example, with these cooperative applications, with my school, our application form is fairly straightforward. Like it's you fill out your regular, like which co-op you're doing, you fill out a little bit of information about yourself, but you only really get like a signature approval from other teachers. Whereas I found some of the information that was shared amongst ourselves, for example, the teacher reference form. This is something that I'd probably like to share and bring back to my school, which I found was very useful, and a very useful part of this co-op program. Same goes with the other files, like for example, the co-op brochures, seeing kind of what other schools have done and be able to nitpick kind of what I like. along with the reflective assignments. And I find that with the pre-placement lessons, being able to share and see kind of these different lesson plans, we're able to see kind of what people thought what other people thought were important, and be able to add or remove any information that I felt was either not necessary or that I wanted to add because I felt that we could use that additional information. So being able to share all these resources was kind of like the big thing that I liked to take away from this course overall. Now, in terms of your questions of do these items support the value of working collaboratively with the school and community partners to enhance and support student learning, I found that especially the brochures that we shared amongst ourselves, these brochures are able to help us present kind of what co-op education is and how it could benefit community members to support the learning of students in their community, and being able to kind of see what other schools have done in terms of sharing information and what kind of looks good, and what additional information I could add to my resources. So it definitely, like especially this item, would help in terms of the collaboration between schools and community members. Now, in terms of your question for what learning experience benefited me the most, like I said earlier, the legal issues case studies I found was what I learned the most from during these sessions. Having to do the research into kind of what procedure I would take in terms of dealing with this situation. For example, like this take your kid to work example with the grade 9 integrated technology class, a student on a construction site. I never actually knew that the age for students was 16 to be able to go on a construction site. So being able to find that information, I find, or having to look into that information was a huge benefit for me. An area that requires further investigation and why, I would think that I would want more case studies if I were to continue taking this course, just to look at other situations and scenarios that could happen in co-op. Like I said earlier, co-op is oftentimes every day is something new and you kind of don't know what you're walking into necessarily. So being able to see all of the different case studies and kind of what could happen to a student while they're out on the job, I feel like would greatly benefit me as a co-op teacher. Now, in terms of describing the tasks a successful candidate should be able to do based on the knowledge and skills gained in this course, overall, I feel like this course has taught me a lot about cooperative education. Like I said before, I've supplied for a co-op teacher on and off for the past year while he was on medical leave. And I was honestly kind of just thrown into the situation and I had to learn kind of on my feet what was happening and what to do. And I felt terrible for my my opposite teacher in the co-op department because I didn't really have any experience, but she felt that it was a benefit having me because I was willing to do anything that was necessary. And I wasn't afraid to like just try new things and try new programs. And the nice thing about putting me into that situation was that I'm a fairly quick learner and I'm fairly adaptable. So I was able to learn on my feet and help as best I could. But I find that having this course now, I would be much more prepared if I were put in that same situation, especially in terms of health and safety and kind of what is expected of the employer. One of the biggest things that I loved about this course was all the resources that could be shared, like I said earlier, that I can now use at my school and hopefully be able to create better and more useful information for my students and also programming for my students. At the end of this course, I feel like I could definitely help much or be of much more assistance to my opposite in the co-op department. I don't think I would necessarily be prepared to run a co-op department on my own because I know that some of our smaller schools only have one co-op teacher where that teacher is running solo. I'm not sure if I would necessarily be confident enough to do that, but if I were working in a team, I would definitely be able to help that team out and be a lot more helpful in terms of running the program rather than kind of following along and being told what to do. By the end of this course, I feel like I could be able to get through the basic things in terms of like the foundation. So going through interview questions and communicating with the parents, given all the information that we have here, and some of the pre-course interviewing questions. So things like that. I don't think I would necessarily be able to help a lot in terms of helping students finding jobs because I won't have built up that network since I would be a new co-op teacher. But I would definitely, once the students are out on their jobs, I feel like I would be confident enough to go out and help them out in making sure that their learning experience is a safe and um, uh, uh, educational learning experience for those students. Um, I apologize, I had to stop because I had a cough. Yeah, as you can tell, my voice hasn't fully come back yet. Um, but yeah, overall, I feel like I would be able to sufficiently ensure that the students are having a safe and memorable learning experience on their placements. Also, I feel like I could assess my students appropriately after finishing the course, given all of the things that we've learned in terms of assessment and evaluation and how to break up the course. Um, Overall, I feel that after this course, the knowledge and skills that I've gained, would prepare me to work in the co-op program that has been established and where I'd be working with a guidance team and have the assistance of another co-op teacher just to help me just to help guide me through some of the more legal issues and um, areas of paperwork and all of that. But and to have to like run a program on my own, I think that would be a little bit more difficult. But definitely feel like I would be prepared to jump into a call program that has been established. But yeah, overall, great course. I felt like I've learned a lot, and thank you so much for this experience.